time to wake up is now. So many have been trying to get to the truth. Out to your groups like Anonymous, 911truth.org, and wearechange.org, and Infowars.com. And now you are here at another radio that's the Minutemen Radio with the Mark Fluid Broadcast, a place where truth and freedom ring. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Mark Fluid Broadcast. Today we're going to talk about a couple of stories, and the bottom line is everything we got is facts. Right now, what I want to address right now is what's going on with the flu vaccine. A lot of people have been emailing me about super flu and flu vaccine. I'm going to tell you about, I've got these stories that I'm going to show you, and it's just a joke, okay? If you want to believe it in your mind that it helps you, that's fine. But let me put it to you this way. Your bodies build up antibodies all the time against everything. During the 1700s, when the colonies were smoking, kids were fine. Why? Because their bodies built up antibodies to protect it from it. You have to have it. It does it all by itself. Anyways, we're going to go with this. What this is a person talking about the super flu vaccine, showing what the media, how the corporate media do it, and how they mind control you.
Heart danger in diet drinks. Just one can a day can lead to a stroke. You may be mistaken in thinking that the newspapers actually care about our health, but no, absolutely not. That is a mistake. Because when at the bottom of this article it says turn to page 6, so we turn to page 6, and lo and behold, at the underneath where the rest of the article is, up above that is another article, or should I say advertisement, because what the newspapers really do, that they advertise things that's going to make them more money, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the money. It's all about making more money and controlling the people. So up above, so yeah, the story follows on, health warning over diet drinks. So you think the newspaper really cares about our health, wants us to have good nutrients and things, but actually underneath it, just at the bottom, it says try some low-fat milk instead. Anyway, so up above here it says hope soar. The headlines are just so funny. Hope soar of new super jab that can kill off flu for good. Hope soar of new super jab that can kill off flu for good. So this is a complete advertisement up here for more vaccines, and because that is their end goal is to vaccinate everyone on the whole planet with these super vaccines, which cause all manner of problems in the body and the brain as well, neurological damage and everything. So yeah, they want to get this new super vaccine that basically stops everyone from getting the flu, etc. So further on down the line here, they say dedicated volunteers in our isolation unit have helped us to open a window into why some people get flu and others do not, and even better, to formulate a new vaccine. This is the most important thing my group has come up with, and it is a key discovery. So, you know, it talks about these professors and these scientists that are trying to work out why some people get the flu and other people don't. I personally haven't got the flu in years, and you know, it's just common sense. It's because I'm not stuffing myself with all the crap that people stuff themselves with. You know, people who get the flu are overtoxic. And when you're not overtoxic, when you don't have any toxins in your body, or a very low level of toxins, then you don't get the flu. When your immune system is strong, you don't get the flu. How do you get your immune system strong? You get your immune system strong by eating very cleanly, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, by keeping hydrated, by just getting all the nutrients that your body needs and not taking in all the processed food, all the crap, all the meat, the dairy, that creates toxicity in the body, creates acid in the body, and which creates this overload of toxins. You know, that's why people are getting the flu. Some people are getting the flu and some people aren't, because some people just have a very low immune system because of what they put in their body, their general lifestyle, if they're sedentary, if they're sitting and watching the TV all day, their circulation's not moving properly, or if you're out running about, exercising, you know, keeping yourself fit, doing yoga, things like that, keeping your stress levels down, eating a nutritious diet, then no, chances are, if you get yourself in a really good state of health, you're not going to get the flu. I know people who haven't got the flu in 15, 20 years because they keep themselves in a good state. I haven't had the flu in a few years now, you know, and I know when I did get the flu is because I was overloading on things that I shouldn't have been. So, pretty simple, huh? So basically there's a huge marketing campaign going on at the minute for vaccinations, and they're basically implanting it in people's minds that it's good to get vaccinations, that these flu vaccinations are going to be coming out, these super ones that are going to stop thousands of people from dying each year, etc. And it is it's a complete scam, and it is to make people sicker, weaken the immune system. You know, it's putting toxins inside the body, which is causing neurological damage, which is, you know, causing problems with the mind, with the brain, causing issues with the body. These aren't to help people. Putting these poisons into the body aren't helping people. They're making people sicker. They're making people weaker. They're making people go a bit funny in the brain. So stay away from the vaccines and stay away from these newspapers. You know, I pick them up, and ones that have been left around, and I flick through them and just see sometimes what's in them, just so I can just show you what's going on here. And it's a scam. This is a complete because here's the thing, and I explained it in previous videos. The newspapers are in complete collaboration with the pharmaceutical industries. Quite often newspapers are owned by the same people that own the pharmaceutical industries, or the people who own the newspapers have all their money in the stocks of the pharmaceutical industries. So these are just pure adverts. Adverts for vaccines, you'll see adverts for all types of medication. The newspapers, they don't care about your health. They don't want you to get healthy. They want you to buy stuff that they have stocks in. So that's basically it. My name is Matthew Armstrong. Chat to you next time.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was one good insight. And I'm going to show you, because if you don't believe it, the news has caught it. Because right now, our country's in dire straits, okay? If you actually don't believe that these global elites want you sick because there's money in toxicity, if you actually believe that there's no conspiracy in taking your guns, if you actually believe that, you got to be an idiot. Because even George Carlin said to people like you, it's called the American dream because you'd have to be asleep to believe it. So even if he knew, there's millions of people that knew. This stuff is real. These people are trying because it's a way of making money. It's all about the almighty dollar. They could care less about you. And if you think the flu shot is great and it works, well, let's go to this, because now we can't even take care of our elderly.
When you get a flu shot, you expect it's going to protect you against the flu. That's reasonable, but that's not the case, especially for some. Here's Corey Marshall to tell us who's at risk in tonight's Not On Your Side Health Watch.
Jen, the fault may lie in the flu vaccine. According to preliminary numbers, older adults haven't been as protected against this flu season's harshest strand. You may flinch and squint, but all the while you're hoping this year's flu vaccine will fight off any impending influenza virus floating around.
We definitely haven't gotten the flu, so it worked for us.
According to the Center for Disease Control, this year's flu vaccine is providing moderate protection against this season's harshest flu strand, with 56% overall effectiveness. But there's one major exception. CDC officials say this season's vaccine is only 27% effective for those 65 and older, the lowest in nearly a decade.
So I think, that is something we're always looking towards.
Shauna Anderson works within the Office of Infectious Disease Services at the Arizona Department of Health Services.
And it just seems like for H3N2 specifically this year, when given to older adults, it just didn't seem to provide enough protection to really prevent them from getting sick.
She says each person's body reacts differently to the vaccine depending on age. What's more, your immune system also declines with age. Translation, seniors who get the flu vaccine are building the necessary antibodies needed to ward off the virus. They're just not making as much.
You got the flu shot. You still got sick. Are you surprised?
I'm sick at the moment right now, yep. And I am surprised. I didn't think I'd get sick. I haven't been sick in years.
Still, experts urge seniors to get the shot, admitting a stronger strand for those 65 and up may be needed.
I mean, obviously we here at the health department want a vaccine that works as well as possible to protect as many people as possible, so that's really important for us.
Now, there is some good news. Arizona Department of Health Services officials say the vaccine is proving to protect older adults against strand B of the flu.
You just don't want to be sick. Bottom line, you know. The preliminary numbers, updated, correct for now?
They're just preliminary at this point. We still have a few more weeks left in this flu season, and experts at the Arizona Department of Health Services say it can't stretch out until May.
Let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Corey, thank you.
Want to know what's going on? Want to get the inside scoop? Minutemen Radio, the Mark Fluid broadcast, will give you the stories that corporate media mongers will not tell you. Want the truth? Then go to fluidnews.webs.com. That's fluidnews.webs.com. Now you can get good quality made gifts from true veterans. No more will you have to keep shelling out your money to the fat corporate mongers that all they do is can keep you down. The globalists want you to spend all your hard-earned money, but why would you when you can go to the top Patriot stores around, and one of them are effyshopworld.webs.com, a complete line of military local gifts designed by 100% American. Stop catering to the globalists and stop catering to a crisis. Make a difference today. Go to effyshopworld.webs.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Now you can see how the pharmaceuticals, they make money intoxifying us, and it's got to stop. Use your brain. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy. Exercise. Okay? It's funny. There was a show, Star Trek, and it was one line that was really true, and it was made by DeForest Kelley, who played Dr. McCoy. And the one thing he said is, hell, I can do more for you if you would just eat right and exercise regularly. Take care of yourself. All right, on other news right now, let's talk about these things about gun control. Let's talk about these things. President Obama putting unconstitutional laws in there. And if you actually think that the government's not trying to take it, well, I got news for you, because we have an ex-Secret Service member speaking out right now.
And yes, I wear boots and jeans, and I don't apologize for it. I'm that middle-class American that Barack Obama was supposedly running for until you saw your paycheck go down last week. Felt great, didn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no such thing as gun control. Don't co-opt their language. There's only people control. And I can prove it to you. I spent 16 years of my life with a badge on my chest, which served as a target for some, unfortunately. I don't remember ever having the conversation during my years in the Secret Service that, hey, listen, we're taking the president to Baltimore, to Chicago, so let's just disarm because they have really strict gun control laws. Now, why is that funny? The reason is it's funny because it's funny. I never, in 15 plus years of doing this, have ever arrested or investigated someone on a gun crime who had that gun legally. Amen. So you have to ask yourself, why? It's not about gun control. Do not co-opt the language. When they own the language, they own the argument. Yeah. There is a reason they are doing this. You know, folks, it may disappoint some here, but I could have carried a gun my entire time, anywhere in the United States, on planes, wherever I chose. I didn't. That was my choice. It may have been a foolish one, but it was my choice. It was my choice. It was my God-given right to be able to protect myself and my family. That was my right, not given to me by a piece of paper, only insured by that piece of paper. That is not up for debate. The right to petition, the right to assemble so beautifully on this day, the right to speech is not given to you by the governor or the president of the United States. That is not his to give. And if it is not his to give, it is not his or her or anyone else's to take away. Anyone! Ladies and gentlemen, we are in perilous times. You know, I'm just a man. My spirit's been almost broken over this. This is our country. That flag represents something. Men and women have died horrible deaths. Horrible deaths. My uncle being one of them. shot in the back in Vietnam to protect your very right, your liberty, your decision to be able to protect your family. We live, unfortunately, and Lord, it pains me to say this, but we live in a society of wolves. You do not fight back by creating more sheep. Hear, hear. You do. These are tough times, folks. And I want to leave you with this thought. Our revolution was one of the only revolutions in human history where those who defeated our enemies and took power created a document that disempowered them. Here, on this soil, in this country, in this collective group of people we call the beautiful United States, it pains me to say this. I'm not a right-wing nut job. I'm not a xenophobe. I'm not a misogynist. I'm just a man. I'm just a guy who wants to live and let live. I don't mind paying taxes for our military. I will give you my last dollar to fund our beautiful veterans that come home missing parts of their body if they come home at all. But ladies and gentlemen, these are your tax dollars to pay a government that is slowly but surely every day whittling away more and more of your ability to live and let live is not what people who died and bled for meant this country to be. That is not what that represents. That is not a piece of fabric. It is not a tablecloth. That is an idea. An idea that's unique to this place right now, right here. Act. Do not talk. Action matters. This speech is meaningless without action. If you here are not registered to vote, you are not part of the problem. You are the problem. And I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that. If you did not show up because it was chilly, or you felt like your vote didn't make a difference, you're the problem. If you are not out here today finding some way in your sphere of influence to echo chamber this message to 20 or 30 people, you're the problem. And if in this next election in 2014, you're not volunteering, or you're not talking, or you're not registered, or you're not voting, you're the problem. Action matters. Action changes the world. Talk is cheap. Your liberty is not. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
All right, folks, as you say, this came from a person that was in the Secret Service. Now, he knows what the government's up to. You mean to tell me that there are people out there that are that stupid that think that the government's not trying to do this, that it's a conspiracy? No, it's freaking real. Wake the hell up. But you know what? There is light at the end of the tunnel, because there's a lot of sheriffs. Now, understand, there's a lot of good sheriffs and police that understand what's going on, and they've already said point blank they will not enforce Obama's gun control unconstitutional laws. So you can check out this story.
So how about this story? An Oregon sheriff now saying that he will not enforce President Obama's new gun control recommendations, and turns out he's not alone out there. At least 10 states now say that they're considering taking some sort of legislative action against the federal government. Those states span the nation, from Oregon all the way to South Carolina. Many sheriffs are now calling for action, like Lynn County, Oregon Sheriff Tim Muller. Sheriff, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Good morning, Martha.
Talk to me a little bit about your process of thinking this through. You know, when you started to hear about these executive orders coming down from the president, you know, what kind of action did you take? What became your plan, and how do you back up your ability to carry that out?
Well, how it first started was I had a lot of folks in my county asking myself and my deputies, what my position was on if any what they termed far-reaching or overreaching gun control laws were established from the feds. And Yeah, I made my position known. I tell my deputies that I didn't support anything, any regulations that would infringe upon the constitutional rights of our citizens. And more questions came out as far as what my position was. I didn't see really a lot of information coming out of the committee that Vice President Biden was sitting on, and so I just wanted to reach out to my own citizens in my county and let them know what my position was. And while I was working on doing that, I thought, well, he's the chairman of the committee, and I didn't really see a lot of Western sheriffs out being asked on what we thought, and specifically, Pacific Northwest,
right,
where we're from here. And so I decided I'd send him a letter and just let him know what my position was here in Linn County, Oregon, and try to be as respectful as possible and still get my point made. And didn't really expect the attention that it got. I figured I might get some local attention. I tried to reach out through our local newspaper, and then we put it on the copy of the letter that I wrote on our sheriff's office Facebook page, and
that's the way things go now. Everything it's like wildfire. So what's your understanding of your jurisdiction, and sort of what you are allowed to do under the law and what you are not beholden to in terms of these federal regulations?
Well, I'm not so sure it's what I said, but how I said it in that letter. We don't enforce federal law anyway. That's we're not required to do it. We're actually prohibited from doing it in most cases. And a good example is federal immigration law. We're prohibited from enforcing that.
Right.
And I don't think it's reasonable for anyone to think I'm going to enforce federal gun laws in my county.
I guess one question, for you would be if something were to happen in your community and it looked like one of these laws or changes might have prevented that person from having access to a firearm, well, how would you deal with that?
If it's we're just the Linn County Sheriff's Office, myself and my deputies, we have the position that we're not going to enforce that law. It's a federal law. If it comes down as a state law, then we'll have to revisit that. But we won't enforce federal regulations or federal laws. We're not required to. There's a separation of powers, and we won't.
All right. Sheriff, thank you. Getting a lot of attention, and a lot of folks are getting on board with you. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. Tired of throwing away all your hard-earned money to the global bankers for games? Tired of all the money you're shelling out for old classic games? Then stop catering to the global bankers and go to MegaGamePortal.com. That's MegaGamePortal.com, where you can get a great selection of classic games with no Trojans, spyware, viruses, and you can get them at the best prices digitally downloaded to your computer. Go to MegaGamePortal.com today. Alright folks, welcome back. Now as you can see, there's so many people speaking out. It's not just people like me getting out there. It's not like Alex Jones. It's not just Truth.org. It's people that are of influence. You're talking about an ex-Secret Service agent. You're talking about the sheriffs, and you're talking about a lot of county sheriffs and police are like, no, we're not going to enforce that. And it's true. Any unconstitutional law, you have no obligation to obey. None. Anything that's unconstitutional. And any law or procedure that's unconstitutional, no courts have any obligation to enforce. So the president is writing papers for nothing because nobody's in the obligation to listen to him. It's something stupid, but actually what made me proud is the way a veteran stood up for the Second Amendment to a bunch of idiots, neo-Nazi fruitcakes, who says that the Second Amendment's not needed anymore, and they try to cover it up and talk about the NRA and all this other, but the funny thing is, they're the dummies. And this veteran that stood up actually made me proud to be a veteran myself, because he stood up to these idiots and said his mind. You gotta listen to this.
He just equated gun owners to Nazis.
And Chihuahuas.
If you don't like that, write it down. We've given you time.
You should like that. Defending that? That's offensive. Are you defending him with gun
fighting citizens Nazis?
If you would please be quiet, because this is not
your turn to talk.
We don't get to
You guys want to have an educational meeting, you can have one of your own and see who shows up, and that's fine. Right now...
We're the ones who showed up for yours.
Yeah, we showed up for yours.
The Second Amendment in the Bill of Rights.
It's a bar against tyranny.
Educate us, doesn't matter why they included it. The question is, do we want it, do we need it now, and is it relevant to today's society?
Sir. Freedom of religion doesn't matter.
While you're standing up, I am sat here and I'm in here right now, and I would like to agree with the professor. Everyone standing in this room right now, especially the veterans in this room right now, know that we are all Americans. The problem with this country right now is it's us and we need to stop this crap. Now, the thing I would like you to answer, sir, and I did go to war for this country.
Yeah!
Whether it was for everyone in here's ability to have oil and gas in their cars, or the banks, or whatever, I went to war for my country.
Thank you.
And I went to war for your ability to have the First Amendment to say what you stood up there and said today, write what you want to write in your newspaper, and have whatever opinion you want to have. You can practice whatever religious freedoms you want. I would like you to answer the question. Since you just said that one of the rights that I went to war over to defend, that is inalienable to every American citizen, if this discussion was going on about your First Amendment rights, would you still have the same opinion that we don't need that anymore either?
You didn't hear my answer.
I did hear your answer.
We all did.
You said the Second Amendment no longer matters and we might not need it right
That's
now.
not what I said.
You question.
The question was, what were the reasons for the Second Amendment at the time it was adopted? And I said, it doesn't matter what their reasons are. What matters is whether or not it's relevant today. And that's the answer.
Matters is relevant.
Eternal truth. And eternal truth relevant in all time. When they consider any part of the Constitution, any law, they're going to say, what does it mean today?
Sir.
No.
Let the man speak. The threat of tyranny today is no less than the turn of the century in 1900, or 1800, or 1700.
Here's what I truly believe the NRA pretends to be.
That's what we are.
This is what I think the NRA really is.
You don't care about nothing but yourself.
It's the heart of the secondary market.
As you can see, you know, they don't want to listen, but that vet's standing up and exactly what I went to war. I was in the first Persian Gulf. I was also in during a time when we had our freedom. I was in for 10 damn years. I supported this country. And that's what I support for, was a Constitution and Bill of Rights. And that's what every veteran stands for. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something, for all those anti-gun people, the person that put this together did an outstanding job. A real good, outstanding job. Because you could see Alex Jones, or actually hear Alex Jones in rare form, little spots from Jesse Ventura, and a few others. But if you listen very closely, you can see that there are certain facts in there you just can't dispute. And it's great to hear. So let's go to it.
The surveillance video captures it all. 4 suspects, armed and dangerous, attempting to invade a Southwest Side home.
The victim was able to get back inside his house, close his door, semi-barricade it, reach for a weapon that was easily accessible.
That's when you hear gunfire. The 4 men retreat, get into their car, but not before the homeowner's bullets hit the windshield. Pima County Sheriff's officials say the homeowner has surveillance cameras installed all around his house.
And that was just for his own home security.
A 15-year-old at home with his 12-year-old sister when burglars try to break in.
That's when investigators say the boy grabbed his dad's assault rifle and started shooting, and he hit one of the men repeatedly. This all unfolded this afternoon in the 2600 block of Royal Place Court. 11 News reporter Sharon Min Chow talked with neighbors and investigators.
Anxious family and friends crossed the yellow tape into a surreal crime scene. A 15-year-old boy and his 12-year-old sister had been home alone in the Mount Royal Village subdivision. Then about 2:30, a pair of home invaders tried the front and back doors, then broke a back window.
A young boy was protecting his sister. You know, he was in fear for his life and for his sister's life.
The brother grabbed his father's assault rifle and knew what to do with it.
Gun control. This is something I've been very animated about all this year with all the various gun outrages, especially the appalling thing at the cinema in Colorado. Why is it that Americans, to me it seems, so many Americans cannot divorce their right to defend themselves with a gun to the apparent right to go and buy 6,000 rounds of ammunition, high-powered assault weapons, and go and murder Americans?
Well, the best thing I can tell you, Piers, is this. Mexico has strict gun control. You cannot own a gun in Mexico, and they had 20,000 people dead last year in the drug cartel wars.
But Mexico has a very particular problem involving drugs. I can cite you Britain, average... Well, let me just throw it back at you. In Britain, for example, an average of 35 people a year are murdered with guns. In Germany, it's about 40 to 50. France, the same. Spain, the same. Italy, there's a pattern here. America, 11 to 12,000 a year. This country has more guns than anybody else and more gun murders. It's inarguable, isn't it?
No, not at all.
It is.
Because I was in the Philippines, physically, the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and made himself a dictator. And the first thing that dictator did, he gave the people of the Philippines 2 weeks to turn in all their guns or it was the death penalty. Now, why would a dictator do that? Why would he make his #1 priority when he took over as dictator to disarm the public? The Second Amendment is there, and it was put in there not for hunting and fishing like they like to say, because back when they did it, if you didn't hunt or fish, you didn't eat. It was put in there so the citizens would have the ability, if their government became oppressive, they could defend themselves against oppressive government.
And when they get our guns, they can have their world tyranny. While the government buys 1.6 billion bullets, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters, Predator drones, armed, now in U.S. skies, being used to arrest people in North Dakota. The Second Amendment isn't there for duck hunting. It's there to protect us from tyrannical government and street thugs.
All right, how many people here die because of car accidents of drunk driving? Do we go to the Ford Motor Company and tell them stop making these automobiles because people get drunk and kill people in cars?
It's a facile argument.
It's a what?
It's a facile argument. There's no equivalence between drunk driving and lethal firearms. My point is...
Wait a minute. A car is a 2,000-pound projectile that can go 100 miles an hour.
I have no problem with an American believing that their right under the Constitution is that they can defend themselves, especially in their own home, if they're being attacked and they have a weapon.
It's also against government.
I have a big problem with a disturbed young man, as we saw in Colorado, being able to buy 6,000 rounds of ammunition and a high-powered assault weapon and go into a movie theater and blow away 70 Americans. I have a big problem with that. And nobody else in America in high office seems to share that big problem.
Well, I'll tell you what, Piers. I have a conceal and carry license. Had I been in there, I would have taken this guy out before he could have killed that many people.
It was just a normal day at the Palms Internet Cafe in Marion County. You can see the customers chatting and playing their games. But they were interrupted by these two men. Watch as deputies say Davis Dawkins and Dwayne Henderson come in and wave a gun, pointing it right at the customers asking for valuables. But just seconds later, someone steps in. Look at the right of your screen, a man running with a gun, firing at the suspects. From another angle, look at the guys in black clothing with masks, one with a gun, the other with a bat. You see them, and then you don't. The next time they come into view, one of them is diving on the ground. The man, 63-year-old Samuel Williams. He's right behind them, firing. They leave. Williams, calm as can be, locks the door and waits for police. When questioned by detectives, he said he was with his wife at that cafe and was afraid they were going to shoot someone. He told them he was scared. And you wonder, did he hit either of the guys? He sure did. Marion County detectives found them at the hospital, both with gunshot wounds.
So there you go. Williams, however, will not be charged. Dawkins and Henderson, yeah, they are being charged with attempted robbery.
Well, I think that, again...
But because, let's remember, police can't stop crimes. Police show up after they're over. Remember that. So when you talk about me not being able... If there would have been a legitimate conceal and carry in that theater... Quite possibly they could have taken this guy out and saved people's lives.
Or you could have had the gunfight at the OK Corral in there and lost even more lives, couldn't you? That's what could happen. Anyway, let's take a break.
What roll of the dice would you like? You'd prefer to be unarmed? How many people here think I make crackpot points?
Yeah.
One. How many think I make sensible points?
I don't care what the justification is, that you are allowed in this country to own a semi-automatic weapon, much less a handgun. But what do you need a semi-automatic weapon for? The only reason I think you need it is, Pierce, challenge Alex Jones to a boxing match, show up with a semi-automatic that you got legally, and pop him.
I'd love to see that. In uniform.
I'll borrow my brother's uniform.
We only have the problem in our cities and unhappily in our schools where people like you have been able to get laws put on the books that keep people from being able to defend themselves. I honestly don't understand why you would rather have people be victims of a crime than be able to defend themselves. It's incomprehensible.
You're an unbelievably stupid man, aren't you?
It seems to me that you're morally obtuse. You seem to prefer being a victim to being able to prevail over the criminal element. And I don't know why you want to be the criminal's friend.
What a ridiculous argument. You have absolutely no coherent argument whatsoever. You don't give a damn, do you, about the gun murder rate in America? You don't actually care. All you care about...
It seems to me that facts don't bother you, do they, Mr. Morgan?
You would like to see...
Facts don't seem to... They bounce right off of your head.
Let's deal with some facts.
You're speaking oblivious to what we do know, is that when you go to an area in the United States where guns are freely available, readily able to be carried legally, there you find our lowest murder rates, lower than the murder rates in Europe. You go to our cities where we have cracked down on guns and people can't defend themselves, and that's where the criminals have a field day.
How many? 80 people a day die in America from gunshots.
And 75 of them to 78 of them, statistics by the Uniform Crime Report by the FBI and the UN study on violent crime, 78 of those 80 are let out of their cages by corrupt judges and prosecutors who know that recidivism is out of control, know that they'll commit the crimes again, and they let them walk through plea bargaining, early release, and programs.
They still
Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Where you have the most armed citizens in America, you have the lowest violent crime rate. Where you have the worst gun control, you have the highest crime rate. Pierce, choose one. Do you want a lot of crime? We have it. Gun-free zones. Do you want less crime? We have that. More people with concealed weapons permit. Why do you guys resist that statistic?
And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? That's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.
Want to know what's going on? Want to get the inside scoop? Minutemen Radio, the Mark Fluitt broadcast, will give you the stories that corporate media mongers will not tell you. Want the truth? Then go to fluidnews.webs.com. That's fluidnews.webs.com. Now you can get good quality made gifts from true veterans. No more will you have to keep shelling out your money to the fat corporate mongers that all they do is can keep you down. The globalists want you to spend all your hard-earned money, but why would you? When you can go to the top Patriot stores around, and one of them are FEShopworld.webs.com, a complete line of military local gifts designed by 100% American. Stop catering to the globalists, and stop catering to a crisis. Make a difference today. Go to FEShopworld.webs.com. Okay, folks, we're back. Just to recap tonight, let me explain something, okay? First off, the guns don't hurt a darn person. There's not gun murders. There is not. That is a play on word. There's no such thing. There's never been a gun murder in the United States at all. There's a person murder. A person held that gun. The gun didn't do a damn thing. It's an instrument. It's a tool. It doesn't do a friggin' thing, okay? What they try to do is take away your gun so you can't defend yourself. Do not listen to Morgan. He's an idiot, okay? First off, where is? I've been to places where everybody's got a lot of people, a lot of law-abiding citizens have guns. You know what? Those people won't do crimes there. They ain't going to try and kill somebody because that guy's armed. He can defend himself. So the bottom line is they're all wrong. Morgan's an idiot, a moron, a dumbass. That's right. I called you an idiot, Morgan. You're a moron idiot. I said it. Because guns don't hurt anybody. Put a gun on the table. Walk away from it. Just sit and look at it. It ain't going to shoot you. It's not going to hurt you. Because it can't. It can't do anything. Okay? Jesse's right. Okay? Government tries to take away the guns because that way the citizens can't defend themselves against this tyrannical government. He's right. Oh, we will fight though. We will. You back a puppy dog in the corner, he'll fight. The bottom line is, there's a lot of people. I've talked to thousands of people every day. And I mean thousands. Literally thousands. Okay? People I met when I was in Coast Guard. People I met when I was in Japan. People I met when I was over there in Canada. People I met all over the world when I was in the military. I know a lot of people, a lot of powerful people. And they all say the same thing. These are just law-abiding people like me. And guess what? They'll stand and fight. So if you think you're going to try to manipulate with propaganda, it's not going to work. Because a lot of people are turning off mainstream media because they know it's bullcrap. And they're going to people like me, Alex Jones, InfoWars, a lot. They're going down to the underground media, the alternative media, to get the real news because we're telling the truth. You're not. You're blowing smoke up people's asses. That's what you're doing. You know, it's funny that these people are going to take an instrument and blame that. Okay? That's what they try to do. They try to get these people on their side, and they always get these people that cannot think for themselves. They're lemmings. And that's all they are. They can't think for themselves. They have no structure of the brain to process information and come up with a logical decision. They can't. Okay? If they're told to jump off the cliff, by golly, they're going to jump off the fucking cliff. Because they can't think for themselves. They just follow orders. Blindly. And that's why you get people in positions that we have. Because why? They're stupid. They are. They're stupid. Okay? There's a reason they put these stupid people there. Because these stupid people will think that they can do whatever they want to push whatever they want to get the agenda done because they're stupid. They don't read. They don't analyze. They don't think. Okay? So, Morgan's one of them. He's one of them. He's a complete idiot. And every time he talks, it just shows how stupid he is. All you have to do is listen to the first sentence he says, that there's gun murders. There's no such thing as gun murders. It is a person that murdered another person. The gun didn't do a fucking thing. So already a play on words that shows that Morgan is a dumb fuck. He's a dumb fuck. I'm sorry to sound so rude, but he's dumb. You mean to tell me that this guy is going to use gun murder? The gun can't hurt anybody. The gun is just a little piece of, it's like a cell phone, it's like a scissors, screwdriver, a pencil. Do you know you can kill somebody with a pencil? What are we going to do? Ban all pencils now? Call for pencil control? We can stab somebody with a pencil on pencil control. Now the kids can't write anything in school because they're brandishing a fucking deadly weapon. Pencils. It boggles the mind how stupid these people are. Every day you hear how stupid they are. Okay? These are not leaders. Bilderberg's not leaders. Obama's not a leader. They're not leaders. They are falsifits. They always fill your heads with lies, propaganda, because they have an alternative agenda that they want to do. Okay? That's what it is. They are stupid. All of them. They have to be. Because a man with intelligence would not make laws that goes against our sacred document, the Constitution. So obviously Obama is not that educated. Must be a real good puppet. the teleprompter president, because he has to read his cues from over here because he can't think. Puppet. He just has the image, and I think the reason he was able to fool so many gullible people was because of one reason. I'm sorry, he's not doing anything that The Rock on WWE is not doing. The little talking smack with a little charisma and a smile. But that smile is not getting the job done. He's not a president. And he's not my president. Every state has the ability to say, nope, we're not, and they're not. They don't have no obligation to enforce federal law. That's reality. They don't have any obligation. The states and the Commonwealth can say, no, we're not enforcing it. Got no choice. Because the bottom line is, as long as the law-abiding citizens have the ability to defend themselves, then we can keep this government crooked at bay. Because they wouldn't dare do something stupid where they know the first thing we're going to attack is not the ones that are in the image. We're going after the big ones. We're going after the ones that control. So it's called action. The bottom line is, your actions dictate our reactions. So do something stupid, you'll get it in the end. Because the bottom line is, I have said this many times before. Right now, we have the best time to take the real big action. And this goes out to Alex Jones, 911truth.org, wearechange.org, Anonymous, everybody. Everybody that's in the same boat and going for the same common goal, getting rid of these idiots, these global morons. Well then, it's time to attack the right thing, and that's getting rid of the Electoral College. Every person in every city, we have the ability to have polls at elections where there is a laptop calculating everybody that voted for each district, each town, each city, each state. Every person's vote will count because it's right there. And that's what we have to do. There is no media propaganda crap. Get rid of the Electoral College. It is simple. It's time to get in. And the way you can do it was still because the Electoral College was due because it was the colonies. So you look at the fact that, okay, each city, that's what our votes would be. They want to use the Electoral College, go right ahead. But then each city and each state has the actual tally of who really won. And then we can kick their rear ends and say, nope, sorry, according to this, you lied. It's going to beat the Bilderbergs because we're going to have the actual numbers. We have to have those numbers because it's proof. It's like anything else. If it's not written down, never happened. Never happened. If you don't have any evidence, you're not going to do too well in court. You can sit there and accuse somebody of stealing a car, raping a dog. You can anything you want to accuse somebody, but without evidence, without the facts, anything, all you look is stupid because you don't have evidence. So with our evidence, we would have the numbers. We have to get rid of these guys. I'm telling you this much. They have gone so overboard. It has gone so. And I think the saddest thing is in 2002. This was after 9/11. In 2002, my grandfather was a retired fire department. He worked for the fire department. He was retired, and he did machine shop. And he was dying in the hospital. And this person, when I was a kid, if you sat there and said anything bad about the government or this country, he'd be the first one to grab you and kick your ass. But the scariest thing was on his deathbed. These words came very true, and I every time I hear him, I think of Morgan, how stupid he is. But every time I hear him, grandfather said this: I'm ashamed of this country and what it's becoming. I'm not going to let my grandfather die in vain. He loved this country, he loved the Constitution, he loved the people. And that's what we all should be standing for. The Constitution and the people. The rights that our founding fathers gave us. That's what we should be fighting for. Because I am. And I don't care how hard. I'm willing to give it all. And obviously so is a lot of other people. You can look down here. There's a lot of alternative media now. A lot. Because we know we're right. We know there's action that needs to be taken. And it's time for action. And that Secret Service, the guy Dan, that was a Secret Service agent, he's right. I've been saying this. I said this a couple shows ago. I said, look, protesting is great. Getting the word out is great. And that's what we're doing, but it's time for action. I'm hoping my voice reaches enough to where we're going to say, okay, look, it's time. It's time. Election 2014, I'm sorry, that much I might disagree with them because it might be a little too late. We need to start now. We need to start infiltrating our cities. The ones that have the worst of everything, the highest gun control, liberal it up, loosen it up a lot. We need to infiltrate those systems and take over. We need to change this country back to what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be based on freedom and equality for all men. And that's what it's supposed to be. And that's what we have to stand up for. And I'm telling you right now, these people won't win. They will lose because they are few. And do you realize, just the Bilderberg Group, let's not take anybody else, just the Bilderberg Group, do you know how bad we'd outnumber them? How bad they would get it? They sure as heck couldn't win. And if it was a street fight they wanted, I don't think the bout would last about a microsecond. So, they don't have a chance. They've already lost. And a lot of people say they're winning. No, they're losing. Because their arrogance and stupidity in trying to do something that you can't do. You will never shred the Constitution. You will never merge to make a new nation so you make and take our rights away. You won't. It ain't gonna happen. Because we're gonna fight you all the way on it. I'm telling you this much. I love my country. And like I said before, my oath, I've taken to heart. And when I took that oath, not once, but twice, it was, I, Mark Richard Fluitt, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith to allegiance to the same. Those words are my oath. Those words are what I stand for. And I will continue to support everybody that keeps our freedom and our rights, and especially our Constitution. Because that document, our founding fathers and so many people lost their lives for. Yeah, our founding fathers lived through the war, but they had to struggle through it. And there's countless numbers of soldiers that fought and died for our land and for that dear document that I hold dear. Like I said, I got a copy right on my computer, and I keep a copy on a zip, and I have that with me all the time, because that is the most important document. That is the basis of what this country stands for. And like I said, this whole thing on guns, it's a joke. A gun cannot kill you. A gun cannot hurt you. It is the person holding the instrument. You need to get rid of the person holding the instrument. Stop using the item that cannot defend itself. Get at the heart of the problem. It's like a bank robber robs the bank, but he broke in using a tire iron. Now you're going to ban all tire irons. That is about, and you could say it's a weird argument, it's not the same thing. Yes, it is the same thing. They're both tools. They can both kill. In fact, a gun can jam, but a tire iron never will. If your gun jams and a guy's coming at you with a tire iron, the guy with the tire iron is going to win. The tire iron is solid. It will never jam. So they can both kill you. They're both just tools. We're not talking about tire iron banning or pencil banning. No, gun ban, which is the stupidest thing in the world. And anybody who would believe that's an idiot. You need person. You need to make the person. Always on the person that held it. Person. Blame the person. The person. Gotta keep saying it because people like Morgan have the brain of a friggin' pea. Okay? Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Hope to see you back here on Monday. And you take care. And I really do hope that you enjoyed the show. Take care and thank you very much.
Where were you once upon a time?